I only ask that you behave justly.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Playday 5 of the Canadian Contenders League. I'm Whippet, and my Celtic comrade across from me in the virtual caster desk is King Cairo, and well, an exciting array of matches for you this evening. Yeah, certainly so. We bring some magic to anything we get to witness, but again, it's an exciting matchup. Names you should all recognize being following our league. And I mean, we're 5 play days in, we've had exciting results. Can we see another one of those posted up today? We do have some unfortunate news that it looks like we will be seeing at least one player of Valor's missing from that core roster due to some technical issues and I believe an emergency with a sub. So it does leave them in somewhat of a stricken position, unfortunately, but talented roster, all you need to do is claim one kill back and you get to a level playing field and they might be able to get some points, and you never know, an upset result in a 4v5 is not the strangest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, that is certainly the case, but we do have, of course, our very first match of the evening. It's a double-header today. We have Northern Shield versus ValorsGG starting us off, which you'll have us for, and then the second game of the evening will be Tide Pods versus Shinigami, so hopefully another exciting matchup later on. We won't be there for it, but I can't wait to get watching that one once we get to take our break afterwards. But Cairo, we mentioned that Valors will be a man down. Let's take a look. Well, how about you run us through the rosters that they'll be running out today, even with that disadvantage they'll be bringing? Yeah, not much they could have done in that circumstance. Again, best of our knowledge, we just know there was, some factor out of control of the players, and they have decided to stick it out and, chomp down a bit and go out with a 4-player roster. And again, I've seen miracles, I've seen strange things happen before, so again, I'm going to stay ever the optimist. As I mentioned most of the times on broadcast, to my own detriment, I tend to be the optimist here, but, I mean, you have it, you're initially going into every round with that extra hunger. You need to find that early kill, you need to find that early advantage, and again, in a team that can play an aggressive role, they can play in that fast-paced style of energy, they might be able to kind of lead into that. And again, that kind of leads to a segue about our maps. The maps that we'll be seeing, usually you'd imagine, or hopefully, they would be going for a more aggressive style of maps, but when we look at how our bans worked out, hasn't been that way, as map number 1 is going to be Villa. Valors will be starting on the defensive side of that, so they might be able to grab some rounds, even with the deficit. And our second map, which I'm very excited to see, is Chalet. It's my favorite map of the competitive pool, and I think a lot of people are beginning to grow on it as well. Such a unique style of play. I can't wait to see that one. But Villa, of course, our first map of this matchup. Yeah, I mean, you make a really great point about that. That top floor houses the two most common sites that we see day in, day out in leagues. And, with AVG and Trophy being so prevalent and such a massive amount of destruction available to you, it will be an interesting degree. But hopping now into map number 1, Villa. Right, and it will be a Thatcher ban leading the charge, and again, not too surprised with that at all. A Thatcher ban is a somewhat blanket operator you can use to remove a majority of the active threats to your team, from mute jammers to denial on walls. So getting that ban makes it easier job once you hop into it. I'd imagine this will be a Hobona Ace or another form of hard butcher, but no, I've been denied my prediction ratio, as it will be a Nomad leaving us. So, Nomad is going to be the second operator banned out. We're just waiting for our defensive one now, and I am intrigued about how this works. How the aggression will now play out. If we see a Valkyrie going away, intel is of course key to lifeblood for many teams, and being able to choke that out and really does bring in the reach, the sphere of influence the defensive strategy can have. If an AVG hold was set up, you can have those cameras scoured across the map and really use them as a kind of an early warning system or an extra layer of that defensive method. And finally will be that mirror. Oh! How are you back? Oh, there we go. I can hear you. Yes, finally you come back. Hopefully, you're still audible on the broadcast side of things. I do hope that works out. We'll just double check that if Cairo was. But we will, as we work through our technical issues on our side, hopefully the matchup will be just as interesting. Is everything going alongside of it? With, of course, Valor is having to play with a 4 versus 5. On the defensive side, here on Villa, historically weighted towards them. There are methods that you can use to break down core sites like this one, but we're not going for that default rotation. We're moving away, we're going to Trophy Statue, and Aviator Games is going to get brought out initially at least. So we see this extension down towards AVG itself. That's going to be designed to fight the initial entryway coming in. And as you'll know from Villa, buffer rooms are the key to this. If you can waste time, burn it all on this side of the map, and make that execution even harder in the dying rounds, or dying seconds around, you can really set yourself up for a lot of victories just relying on that time, that clock, as it can often act. And this time for Valors as your 5th defender, but for a standard setup, it would be that 6th defender advantage you tend to have.
Line of fire.
This is a very good C4 toss out, but just misses the mark by a fracture of a millimeter. That window ledge being a saving grace for the repelling player on 90 window there. I was going to see so many engagements happening down towards Study, and this is going to be the primary point for focus for Northern Shield. They want to get this control, they need to get this control, and they're going to suffer their first casualty trying to do so. A shoe pops up, finds aggro, and well, when your eyes at the top of the screen, 4 versus 4, the advantage inherently held by Northern Shield is now reduced to nothing, and playing around this, Creeper is going to find some damage to Storms, but is going to be able to take a little bit in return. The Roadie's not going to be great for doing dishing out damage, so we see a flurry of red in the kill feed. Creeper gets one, Raymond finds another one, and we now sit ourselves in a 2 versus 3, technical 2 versus 2, as Raymond is left in DBNO, but likely to be recovered. We do see that the Fuser alone isolated down towards Study, but no one's going to be recovering that yet, as Edam's going to be creeping up the red stairs, facing down towards Wolf, but can't find an angle now, as Hoax is just looking, peering down towards maps. The audio was there perhaps, and Kai to get caught out, napping. A trade is instantaneous though as Storms gets that kill, but now in a 2 versus 1, a tricky position to find yourself in, but a minute to work with the attacking side, so they can spend their time droning, getting information, and setting up a pinch. This push has to happen now. They need to get pushing the information they know. He's pinned in a corner and the swing has to happen. A tricky fight with a low magazine capacity of their own, but It's not even going to get a single shot off. The trigger can't be squeezed, and we see a very clean opening round from Northern Shield. They lost their advantage early, but they pressed forward and they continue to push, take map control, and done a very good method. And they've slowly pushed through, took everything, won their fights when needed, and they got that final kill to win out the round and sort of strong attacking side here on Villa. Yeah, certainly so. We just had a pause there for some technical stuff. We're still trying to work. I am in the dark here. I don't know if you can hear my co-caster Cairo. I can hear him fine. I know I can hear him. Well, welcome back for this next round. I'm solo. You've only got me, so if you didn't like my voice, I apologize. We're just working some stuff out. Our production package is being, well, technology is how it is. But we saw, of course, Northern Shield taking the very first round. Again, I keep mentioning it, I sound like a broken record. We do see Valors having that intrinsic disadvantage starting with only 4 players being able to make it today. So how will this one play out? We move up the trophy yet again, repeat of this. We see the similar extension down towards Statue and AVG. We do see a mute on the board this time. Badgers are bringing that one out. Those mute jammers will make information come at a premium and be able to choke out key utilities such as the Gemini Replicator in the hands of Igro. Adam's going to be opening up the window on the side of Astro, just trying to put some pressure on, being able to perhaps makes people second guess. And we see an unfortunate second disconnect there. Tech issues are having a rough time ravaging the side of Valors right now. Oh, they're going to have to fight out of this tricky position. 3 versus 5. Not ideal, but Igro, Northern Shield aren't really going to be pressing the fight. They don't want to get overzealous. They don't want to dive bomb in. They want to still take their time. There's a method to this, and well, Hawks is going to find 2 as Hacker and Raymond fall in a quick burst of that Vector, sending 45 ACP down range and getting us to a level playing field. This is what I was talking about in our little prep phase. Even with Valors having only 4 players starting, the early fight, those initial engagements can have a massive sway, a moment of influence on a round like this. 135 left. Creeper is trying to find a way in, trying to look for an angle. Nothing working out, but a perfect nade toss down the Astro stairs finds one. But Badger, the SMG-11, makes it work in the Igro, and we get ourselves once again in the 2 versus 2. Shotgun in hand, close quarter brawling, but a little bit out of range with the Mossberg there. Creeper is going to get one on the Hawks, and well, we didn't see Badger convert a quick transfer there. The SMG-11 Creeper finds 2 in rapid succession and makes it 2 rounds for the side of Northern Shield.
Actually making sure to, I mean, Valor's uncomfortable, and with Valor's being uncomfortable, they are just displacing them, picking up frags, and I mean, the thing is, they'll whip it. Another thing that we need to mention is just unfortunate Valor's have started on the defense because, again, with the meta and how it's playing out, it's all in favour of the attackers, and when you've got the man count in favour of the attackers as well, it gets worse and worse for these guys.
Welcome back, Cairo. Nice to see.
Hello.
Nice to have you back. Nice to have you back.
It was nice to be here.
I know. Well, you okay? I will say you've been here for a while. We just haven't been able to hear you. Blessing or a curse, however you want to perceive that. But I mean, you know, it's going to be a tricky round, and it's going to be a tricky experience for Valors right now because I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. I know I am. I look at my notes and everything I mentioned comes down to this, but it's such a pivotal factor when you're looking at a map like Villa. It's wide, it's expansive, and gunfights don't always come in the early stages of a round. It's not like a map like Chalet or Coastline where you find initial engagement so quickly. On Villa, they take their time unless you really press the fight. On the defensive side, you might not see a gunfight for a minute or so because there's so much area, so many buffer rooms, a lot of droning that the offensive side needs to do, and you know, you can't fully drone this map effectively all the time. We see Storms are taking away one of those drones, perhaps blinding the offensive side just a little bit, and he is opting for an attempted C4 spawn kill, but we do see that red silhouette over there. He might be able to find some success with it, tosses it out, and it doesn't connect, narrowly missing the target, a creepery there. Nice try, but Storm's gonna re-peek it there and lose his head for the effort. The AR-33, not something you want to toy around with. And while Creepery's in the hands of Creepery, don't really have a chance of getting that first shot off. So 3 versus 5 advantage now sits once again with Northern Shield. We have seen Valors though claw their way back. Hawk's example in the previous round, finding 2 kills in rapid succession. So we've not seen, or this is an alien territory for Valors right now. They can claw this one back. So, well, it's going to be harder now. Zako is going to be able to find another kill. Badger is now next to fall, 2 versus 5, and we already see the defensive side falling back, at least in the hands of this Goyo of Hawks. Retreating, the front lines falling in favor of Northern Shield, and they have to make the final stand. Spawning the ankles down to the drone hole involved as Hawks finds one to aggro. A great use of that vector, but can't make it get another kill as Adam's going to be able to find that. And now once again, we find a horrible situation for Shu. He's left to fight against 4. He finds 1, but when there's 3 left on the board, he can't find that Habana. Yet another round sways in favor of Northern Shield.
Northern Shield continuing again. I've already said it, whip it to press the issue being that they have the man advantage and they're using it well. They're playing in tandem, they're playing in 2s and 3s, and then they're just refragging. And when you continue to refrag and you already have a man advantage, then you're going to win out the round. The strategy that they're employing is good. They're coming from the north side. And just making sure to not take any chances with this game. And I mean, you've got to give them commendations for that. They're paying respects to their opponents. One thing I will say though is potentially Storms just needs to pull it in a little bit, because when it comes to the site executing, doing the utility work, that's when the real gunfights are happening. We're seeing Valors actually take it to Northern Shield. I don't necessarily think that the roam game might work this time, but potentially if they play closer to site, then we could see a lot more from these defenders.
We certainly, I think Valors certainly have more to give. I believe some pre-going live talk is that I believe for most of these play days so far in the CCL, Valors have had some form of roster trouble with not being able to run their core 5, needing subs in and out. So hopefully, towards the latter half of this season, we will be able to see them, you know, bring out, show the force, because when they continue to put things together, even with subs, they're a very strong side. I'm looking forward to that, but for the time being, it is Northern Shield leading the charge, pressing the advantage, and they're 3 rounds up. They need to be able to really, I think, convert this into a very dominant defensive or offensive split. I think it's not out of the realm of reality, it's pretty likely, but again, I'm never the optimist. You never know what might happen. We're seeing Adam's bringing out that LMG on Sophia, not daring to gamble with a new recoil the AR has been gifted with, so it's not a very hot topic, and I haven't even touched it yet. They really give a proper verdict on it, as once again, a disconnect has led us to an early 3 versus 5, and not ideal position, but play to the whistle of the referee at this stage. You've got to be able to get this round over and done with, and you never know, you could salvage a round victory out of it, or a quick reconnect at least, meaning the problem isn't too terminal. minute 50 or 2 minutes 15 left to work with, and we're already just seeing that Northern Shield are taking full advantage of knowing that they have more player count. They're going to be able to push in, take map control, and they don't need to be as third on the drone game because they know not every position can be filled as they just creep up, take 90 in classical, and nade primed and ready to get lobbed down with the drone hole, the primary target. It's going to be a close one. Raymond takes a little bit of damage. A few of the fragments of the M67 enter the sledge, but he doesn't take anything to really right for about a minute 40 left to work with, and all fresh begins to mount from the center Valors.
Yeah, the pressure is mounting, and do you want to know something? Is it's not even the like well, they are starting to spray into the site, but it's the fact that they're just holding angles and waiting for people to push into it. It's almost playing passively and waiting for your opponents to make a mistake, and mistakes slowly are being made. We do see Storms losing a bit of HP there. The EE1D from Lion is coming out, and so is the Vector getting the first kill, and a 5 in favour of these attackers. Badger's actually been able to answer back here with it, so maybe the push isn't as successful as what Northern Shield might think it will be. It is the two SAS operators, and I mean, if there's anybody to clutch up, it has to be these two.
Well, the SAS dynamic duo of shotguns and SMG-11s prime the fight of these close-range engagements, but that toxic cloud shrouds the vision of smoke, and Igro collects the final kill for Northern Shield. A rapid collapse, and it only took a moment or a few seconds for it to arrive. And not yet again, Northern Shield press the advantage. They play around the circumstance they've been given. They don't want to take any risks at all.
I mean, you've got to give commendations for that. Like, see, the thing is, though, right? I don't know how we all play Siege, right? If you're watching Siege, you're playing Siege. That's kind of the rule when it comes to this game.
What? Seriously? You gotta be joking. We play Siege. I thought I only talk over Siege. I don't know.
No, but like my point I'm making is we're all fanatical about Siege when it comes down to it, right? And the thing is, though, is what we tend to see is meme picks coming out, like an Amaru. People just want to have a good time because they're they've got that man advantage. But Northern Shield are being really regimented, and you've got to give them huge commendations for giving the respect to their opponents. The fact that they're just running through their strats, they're just like, right, we'll get in, we'll get out. I mean, I think that's the biggest compliment you can pay to your opponent. The fact that you're still continuing to run through strats, the fact that you're still continuing to do the good things that you're meant to do in this matchup. I mean, I have to give huge respect to them because we don't see that often.
I mean, on the flip side, again, you gotta look at Valors. They're still running through their strats as well. They've not taken, those Jovier off-meta picks as well, and they are trying to scrape together some rounds, even with the circumstances they've been faced with. So, somewhat to echo what you said, it's a great form of flattery. The Northern Shield are still running through the checklist. They're bringing their, what I can only assume are defaults. I don't imagine we're going to be seeing pocket strategies, but they're running through their defaults and ironing it out. And at the very kind of worst case situation, they're using this as game time practice, ironing stuff out, and Valors can somewhat use it the same as practicing an unfortunate position, practicing putting themselves under more significant pressure. Raymond's peering through the window on mud, trying to get a long angle on someone so daring to peek it. We've seen Storms trying that so far through this matchup, but not this time. Prisma's blocking the vision of Igro as he tries to peer down towards that fireplace in case anyone would be daring to lurk there. No one's going to be there, of course, with that benefit of silhouette. Lidam's going to be inside of the living room, creeping around. As, of course, drones ahead for great amounts of information. Still seeing, though, Valor's coming into an upstairs presence, holding that verticality. That Prisma, though, catches someone as they vault on in. That might be ringing the dinner bells for Storms. Begins to creep down the main stairs as Badger finds the opening kill and Raymond falls, waving goodbye to your sledge. So now you've lost that verticality, or at least the ease of use of that verticality with that reaching out and 2 grenades, and also saying goodbye to your Zofia, who brings so much destruction as well. And Storm's in a great position to find 2 on this roam. He's going to be reduced to low HP, sitting around 30, and he's going to get caught between a rock and a hard place. And this time the rock is going to be Creeper. He finds that kill and brings us to a level playing field. 3 players remaining, but Pulse is in play. Cardiac sensor is a wealth of information, and if anyone so daring to tiptoe upstairs towards the lore, but Hope takes a lot of damage through the wall, reduced to only around 10, and now has to fall back, really retreat deeper into the site, and take no risks at all.
Well, that's it. They need to take no risks, especially with this as being their most convincing round. A great shot from Show, though, and there we go. down to a 3 versus 2 and going on. That's great. We're finally seeing an equal man count on the round for these two teams. We're finally seeing a fair fight. Aggro holding a long angle into China is a great position to be holding. It can really cut the whole site in half. Hacker trying to see if we can maybe get a pick. Remember, we do know that Shu is still on the roam, but a great shot from Aggro taking out the player that was Shu. I mean, this is it. It's now down to the two players on site. It's Pulse who's giving away information. It's Mute with a 1C4 in pocket. It's also a Pulse with a C4. So the denial is an option to play for the plant and then deny with the C4s. They have given away the Mute's position with the Iana drone, and they're getting ready to push into site now.
Well, critical moments of this round, 25 seconds, counters have to happen, and Badger's gonna make it. Rain finds one to Aggro and gives his team the advantage. 2 versus 1, it's all on the line now. Can Hacker find 2 with only 14 seconds? The answer is no, as Badger claws around back from Valor, showing that even in the very tricky position they found themselves in, you can find success. A great round from them. Really want to say that Storms on that roam presence again had a great showing, delayed time, got that kill, but ultimately very well held. A great downstairs defense from Valor's, really locking up that kitchen and really not having to really worry about the verticality, because Northern Shield, whether it was the fact that they lost the sledge so early or it wasn't part of their game plan, they never opted to go for upstairs. They never opted for the verticality inside of the master bedroom area. So, you know, perhaps an area of improvement. If they want to get more rounds, you might be able to open that up, because the amount of power positions you lose on site when that verticality has been opened up is tremendous. But we move in the round number 6, final of our opening half here. And once again, I've seen a lot of Flores being played from the side of Northern Shield. Creepery's been on this operator for many of these rounds, I believe all of them so far. And yet to see one of these explosive drones deployed, I believe, so perhaps picking from the comfort of the AR-33. But those drones have a massive amount of utility sphere potential, and I'll draw your attention, of course, to the oil shield. Prime target for these explosive RC cars, because you don't have to risk yourself. You don't even have to burn a grenade that Raymond holds. It doesn't require a lot of effort to clear anything away. Just drive in and pray there's no mute jammer in that radius.
But the thing is, though, Whippet, I think we did see the Rotero drones come out in rounds 1 and 2 from Northern Shield, but I mean, he's just a good operator to have. It's like bringing a sledge. The kit is good. I mean, they do plenty of soft destruction. So, I mean, why not bring them? Especially when you've got Habana in pocket, who can just play passive and also pop off when needed to. So, yeah, I don't think he's a bad pick at all. Something that I just wanted to touch on last round, I just thought that the strategy from, just to echo your point, that the strategy from Northern Shield was a bit of an own goal. I thought they tried to press the issue onto the site by, I mean, using that man count to their advantage, and that's what really hindered them. But it looks as if they're going to, again, continue to push in through Master this time, actually, rather than go from the north side, that we, the opposite side of study that we saw previous. And we do see, I mean, Storms is in the near vicinity to the players going below to vertically remove any utility on the Master wall.
Yeah, Storms could play a very pivotal role right now. We're not seeing a lot of drones scouring around this bottom floor, nor use of those Gemini replicators, but I believe they have it all cleared away. So up grenade happens. Perfect timing as you expect from Aggro. And now that wall has been exposed, utility on it shall be easy to remove and displace, but I don't think anything placed on it. Badger, though, an active threat down below inside of Mod, creeps to the lounge and living room, and has a drone, a Mozzie-controlled one, giving information, feeding a live feed exactly onto where Yana is. Mistimed or poorly placed C4 must be recovered. It'll take time to do so and make some noise, but Storms creeping up these stairs. But here's a repel. That might be the window behind, and has to be cautious creeping up the pantry stairs, but comes around the corner, face towards China, gets one. Now it's position known as compromise, but makes it 2. A wonderful roam presence coming up from the basement, and that's going to give the advantage in player count to ValorsGG.
Yeah, again, we're finally seeing an even man count in ValorsGG. They're bringing it back, but it's 3 each as we do see. Oh, Badger being able to pick up one, but getting down in DBNO. Hacker answering back, but now it's up to him and Dan. Storms needs to come back to side, needs to support Shu here with it. As we see, we are going into an info gaining stage. It looks as if, oh no, the Habana maybe getting ready to push through this rotate. Does she know where Shu is?
don't believe that information is at least known right now, but Shu in a great position just to sit, wait, buy time, and lurk and try and pounce on unsuspecting victims, but Storms is going to be the victim of that LMG, as Shu finds one, needs to get one more though, and with 30 seconds left to go, you can just play in the head of your opposition, give only a fraction of a second to retort with pulse of your own, as time drains away every second the lifeblood of the offensive side, and Northern Shield know they need the push. Nilly needs to make this fight happen. You need to get aggressive. You've got a lot of ammunition in that box magazine to fight with, and well, uses a lot of it to do damage to Shu. But with 15 seconds left to go, attempting that plant, Shu on a single point of HP. He has to make something drastic happen as that plant goes down. We hit critical in this round, but Sophia is going to get caught out, headshotted and downed as a free diffuser there. As ValorsGG now find 2 rounds in a row. A massive victory for them, at least mentally and morale-based, to find 2 consecutive rounds playing in a constant 5 versus 4.
A huge round there to clutch up from Shu, being able to bring that back, and another huge roam from Storms, being able to pick up the 2 players below that were removing the utility. I don't believe there was actually much utility on the wall Whippet, so I mean the fact that they persisted down there was what ended up being another own goal for Northern Shield. And now 4-2 Whippet. You could actually argue that this is not a bad scoreline. Why? The meta is in favour of the attackers. Yes, they're also a man down. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was all about breathing room for ValorsGG, especially if they'd got one more round. You're thinking to yourself, do you know what, this isn't as bad as what we thought it would be. So now, with this being the case, with ValorsGG finally having a bit of momentum, I can easily see them actually start to pull some rounds back. But the thing is, though, will they have enough on the attack? I do see them switching off onto the Lion, and in the grand scheme of things with it... Oh no, never mind, they have the Ian. I'm talking nonsense. I was about to say I don't think they have much soft destruction, but no, they've got plenty in the Zofia and the Ian.
Wild ramblings from you, Cairo, but I know how it feels. I often get it so wrong when a 6-pick happens. It's somewhat of a curse of mine. It's hard to be correct sometimes.
It's the cast or cust Whippet.
I mean, let's be fair. You can say cast or curse and stick it onto anything, you know. Oh no. It's a real catch-all, you know. It's a great tool to use. But we move on to the attacking side for ValorsGG. As you were mentioning, you know, it is an attacking-sided climate. The current climate of our game, the competitive meta, does lead towards more attacking victories. All you must do is kind of see how maps like Clubhouse and Oregon have begun to shift towards a more offensive-sided climate, and Villa is a map that is on that way as well. But historically sided, in the roots of this map, it's been tricky to break down from the attacking side. And having one less player to do that is going to be a bit of a nightmare, I can imagine, as there's so many buffer rooms, there's so many areas you have to push in and clear. And let me remind you, they don't have as many drones anymore, because the player that, of course, they don't have with them has those 2 drones, and those aren't available. But Shu is going to find the opening kill. Raymond falls, and this is going to be very interesting now, as that happened so early. This is essentially going to be a level round, as I go steps to the plate, looks for a fight, but doesn't even get a chance, as Storm is quicker on the draw, and that multi-pass will do no worth as a 5 or a 4 versus 3 now for Valors, and a bit of another tide. I wasn't expecting them to come out of the gate swinging this much, at least, as the Gemini Replicator can't gather a lot of information, but I think too soon as Badger finds a kill on the Hunks, and that is a team kill that has led us to a level playing field.
I was just about to say there, getting that vigil kill was huge, leaving the line to actually use his EE1Ds to full capacity, because the vigil is his counter, but no, he's off the board, and so is actually the line now, so it's just up to Shu and Storms to actually pick it up. 2 MVPs of the last 2 rounds, and both being popping off. So the question is, Whippet, are they going to continue to pop off? Are they going to continue to be able to win out this round? It looks as if Creepery is trying to find Storms here, but Storms is the one winning the gunfights, and there we go, the Castle's Curse comes back with a frag grenade coming out, confirming that kill. Shu is again continuing to be the MVP for Valors. And can he continue this once more? Can he clutch up? He needs to... Is a Dan on the Legion and the smoke. One smoke babe has been used. 2 left. That's 20 seconds in the pocket of Northern Shield, as well as 2 goo mines. That could also deny the plan later in the round, depending on the placement with it. But is ValorsGG potentially just wasting time waiting for their 4th to come back?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's some of the thinking, just take your time. It's almost like, if, you know, win in-game without calling your tactical timeout, being able to do so, the future recovered, and Shu has that potential to perhaps find some success here, rotating down towards the main stairs, but the Goon Mine's only going to slow this progression. Reconnect, of course, happens, and up-nade potential is there. Silhouettes are close by, but not near enough to take damage, perhaps just to make them think carefully about where they may tread. And Shu's going to try and creep in free the map. The Toxic Cancer pops, and that's going to deny that doorway for access, so a quick rotation required. But Gun's also trained towards map, and he may have an opportunity to walk on in, but no. Hacker slaps him down with the SMG-11 and gives leaves no remorse for it at all. And we see Northern Shield take their first defensive victory.
Yes, they take the first defensive victory and push themselves closer and closer to this match point. Well, map point, I should say. It's not match point yet, but it's nearly map point.
I mean, no, it works. It's a best of two. It works.
Yeah, okay. But, well, the thing is, though, Whippet, we move to trophy statuary again. Some consider this to be the strongest site on the whole map on Villa because of how the meta is running, how the evolution of Villa has occurred with the recent picks. Something that you could potentially say is the fact that there is no Flores being brought could be another hindrance towards ValorsGG, if we think about it, because, I mean, the Flores Rotero drones have been absolutely huge in terms of clearing utility. They've got such a large blast radius. The fact that you essentially confirm by locking up that Rotero drone into the exploding phase of its cycle, I mean, I'm not too sure if it definitely will be, but I feel as if on a map like Villa, where he's available, you should be trying to bring him almost, I would say, at least 4 times out of the 6 on the sites, depending on what's being brought.
Yeah, I can certainly agree to that, but there is one little caveat to that, of course, and it is you have less options to pick operators. You need core roles filled if you're inside of Valor's far more than, you know, I would say, out of the operators that you can bring, Valors have brought the right selection. They can only bring 4. You can't take that extra key utility. And, I was hoping no one would stumble across the line inside of the Roni, and well, no one has done, so no one's shins have been shot off their knees for the time being. But Raymond isn't going to be lasting too long, as once again, Shu finds the opening in a mere fraction of seconds, and that leaves this round open to a level playing for a majority of it. Gemini Replicator spotted out aggro, he goes for a second peek, trying to catch anyone, cut off a little bit by that 90 window repel, but as Badru creeps in closer and closer to the map, will anyone be there to take that initial fight against Habana? As Roach now cracks open behind the bar, and that gives a great line of sight, a great way of entry, as aggro playing round the pillar inside of 90. The drone spots out, gives the information, has an ADS for coverage, Badru's going to lose out that fight against the Mozzie, and well, aggro tries to take a fight against Storm for that repel position, just too strong, and that's going to be your Jaeger in 90 lost in this round. A minute 50 remaining, and a level playing field, an exciting offensive split so far from Valors, but can they convert this good opening into a successful round? Gemini Replicator can't gather information, removed by Roni, but that nade will not land, will not come soon enough to find damage. Perhaps just the sound of that pin being pulled was enough to deter that player on red stairs, but we can't know that for sure. Pressure begins to mount though for Northern Shield. Can they hold on? Is down below. Issue hunting for that roamer, looking to try and deny that active threat. And I'll draw your attention to the fact that Mozzie has a C4, and this is a map, of course, 80% destruction on this top floor. A C4 down below can deny that plant with ease.
Well, this is it. We'll need to see what strategy that Northern Shield do employ. They have the Rooney Gates and plenty of buffer utility before we even get to thinking about getting this plant down. Adan has taken position inside of Master, a huge and key position. One that will need to be cleared out, or ValorsGG will need to hope for the best due to being in such a strong position. With the Renegates being burned, they'll need to look towards the information and what they really can find in terms of position. And Sledge rotating could actually catch out this Mozzie, catch out Dan, who is stuck in Master now. The Sledge will confirm where it is, and there is bullets being traded elsewhere on the map. Creepy is also losing some HP. The Sledge getting downed, and Dan continuing to persist, and Master is huge. And looks as if Storm answered back. The Maestro Cam's going cold. They can't be used for denial later in the round now with it. And 20 seconds now left, and Mission Critical has surely begun.
It truly has. 17 remain. Storms tries to get this plant down, but Dan knows a threat on Astro Stairs. Misses the initial engagement and sees the player creep to the left-hand side of that doorway. A red-pink for information is shoots the next to fall on a 1 versus 1, but key to this story, it is a post-plant situation. So Re-Gate reactivated, and that might give a time an opportunity to try and bait out a plant, get a few taps on this diffuser, but he knows Dan has to get aggressive. C4 used to make a rotation, but we see this blue silhouette falling further and further back, baiting out time, trying to delay this clock as best as possible, but that might work both ways. As Dan tries to get this plant down, Drizmot's ready to deploy, but they're inconsistent, denying it, and they will do so this time. Sticks it out for a second, tries to hold on, but no! Storms is there, and finishes it out with that AR, controls that recoil, finds the head, and gets around for ValorsGG.
So unlucky not to clutch out that round there. Dan, I mean, putting in his best efforts, almost a triple kill on the round there, I believe. I mean, just being in that key position in Master. And well, we can also look away from the fact that Storms again popping off on the Zofia, getting that entry into set, getting the plant down, and then bringing it down to that 1 versus 1 where he did win out. So a huge round there. All in all, ValorsGG, just reminding Northern Shield they are down, but definitely not out. We are heading back to Trophy Statuary, and it looks as if potentially they think that the Ace is a better option than the Habana in terms of firepower.
I'd have to agree on that one. In terms of utility, the Habana does bring raw more because of the versatility of those X-Pyros. But an Ace AK-12, one of the best weapons in the game, can you fault that decision of Badger? No, you can't. They need to bring as much firepower as possible in a circumstance like this, and well, that's some Russian firepower. Is always a good way to back you up. So, scoreline 5-3 in favor of Northern Shield. And, well, Valor's beginning to cross the momentum back on the offensive side, as you mentioned on the side swap, though. It is attacker, well, the climate of the game is attacker-centered, or at least shifting towards that. And this map is a difficult one for attackers. It has been historically defense-weighted, so perhaps these counter each other out. We have a very level playing field. It does seem that way, even with the left-hand side of your screen looking the way it does. So we can get into our action phase now, and a whole trophy and statue being brought out, and not a lot of commitment, at least in terms of manpower, down towards ABG. We see the reinforcements, we see the wooden barriers, but no one's initially sitting to back up Mozzie. We have Aggro once again playing United a little bit deeper this time, falling back, recessing, and not taking the fight by the main stairs. And I think this is a good call because they know he played there early. He might be able to catch that repel a little bit faster. But look at this, Storm's using that wall to be able to rotate away, get into some cover, and set up beautifully. Likely put pressure on that 90 window.
Hardcore parkour. Continuing to maybe gain angles onto where these players are playing. We do see Dan is persistent in this zombie door. I mean, the angle that he's got, the little pixel, could be the detriment to these players. I believe the Ace is the one holding the angle, and he's going to confirm that there is a player in towards red landing, and I believe Mozzie is still actually persistent. I thought he was going to rotate off there, but no, that's not the case. He is continuing to waste time, and I mean, with 1 minute 50 on the clock, the roam is slowly becoming successful. All he needs to do is hit that 1 minute 30, and in the grand scheme of things, it could be considered a successful roam. But thing is though, where are the rest of the players of ValorsGG? How close are they? How close are they to refragging? Oh, well, there it is. There comes Shu from below, able to pick up the Mozzie that was trying to rotate away and go up Astro Stairs. So that's a huge pick from them. The roam is gone, the information gained, and now they can start to look towards the site, gain information to where the utility is, use a utility bomb, maybe displace this player that is in Master. We see the silhouette there, and we will need to see the Ace actually rotate there, potentially even open up the Master wall, as that's why you bring the hard breach in the end with it.
A great opening once again comes at the end of the barrel of Shu. A magnificent performance so far. Grenade primed and ready to try and deal with utility, and Aggro is going to be the victim of that AK-12, but a quick refrag for Raymond is going to allow Badger in the ground in 3 versus 3. Shots narrowly missing the head of Yana, just dodging them from millimeters away. Storms looks and Fuse to a very tight pixel angle, trying to look down towards the air, find the kill as an 8 primed and ready, lobs it deep towards that rotate, but not aware of Creepery, so close to the Alda, and has 81 bullets to her to send down range. The Gemini Replicator will be a victim of the Saria Gate, with the Maestro in a great position to post up and hold the line. 30 seconds remain, and lots of pressure mounting in a 3 versus 3 brawl. Toxic Cancers might have been able to close to the Maestro as Hacker claims that kill, as briefly doesn't get one there either, as Raymond finds it. The Maestro tapping away and can't find the sledge, as Hopes is now the last one standing against two, but it's not going to work out there. Raymond finds another one, and I was surprised Maestro couldn't find any success there. It seemed like everyone funneled in perfectly, but the teammate coverage was there wonderfully. It's a brilliant crossfire and made Wolf an absolute kill box. No way through it at all. The Toxic Cancer forced them to commit, and we now find ourselves staring at a Northern Shield match point here on Villa.
Yeah, great work there from Northern Shield, being able to set up the crossfire. The roam was a success in the grand scheme of things. 1 minute 30 was burned before ValorsGG could begin the utility work on site. They were getting picks, but then at the end of the day, that 3 versus 3 just ended up going in favour of these defenders, and sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. We head to Aviator and Games, and last time this was a very convincing round for these defenders. Ended up being in a 1 versus 2 scenario, and I mean, Whip It, the player left, Shu, really didn't have much to go. Was it Shu? I believe it was Shu. Didn't really have much to go off of.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, from this matchup, while I'll definitely say, this scoreline is somewhat deceiving. The performance on an individual level from Valors has been fantastic. I do want to highlight Shu. The opening kill on the offensive split only came from Ariana so far, and it's been stunning. Northern Shield, though, playing a very solid game themselves, and they really aren't giving Valors an easy time. They're not showing them pixels to shoot at, they're playing their time, they're letting the clock do its job. Put pressure on the offensive side without you needing to physically do anything. And that's a great sign of a great team knowing how to play map control into these significant advantages. We do see a roam presence getting brought out by the Rooney downstairs of Raymond, while likely not trying anything too daring. No spawn peek for Mud, comes back up the Astro stairs and notice there's an active threat from that window. He can't vault out to be too brave with it, so decides to stay in the building and not do some mad heroics, even though I perhaps would love to see it. I'm always here to see the wild and wacky stuff that teams can bring out. But Jedi Replicator sent in, scouring, and imagine a quick sweep of the basement might be a good decision, but not going to be too thorough on that because it's very unlikely to have someone lurking. And if they are lurking, there's too many places to check without burning up too much of your time. Storm's creeping up the Astro stairs, no direct drone ahead of them, so I am intrigued how this will work out. Camera's been pre-destroyed at least, probably that window, and Ruby's head spotted out, so he's watching it from a distance. Storm sends some rounds down range to cover off that cross, in a tricky position now to fight against these boxes by the telescope. No sort of pressure, no sort of active threat. We see Raymond falling back to the side. Goo mines to help shore up that retreat. Going to get shot at very instantly though, as Dan's not going to be too keen on taking that position anytime soon, but just drop prone, hold the line, just wait. And I think that's what we're going to see Northern Shield do. Just wait. They don't need to take the fight, they have the advantage, and all they need to do is watch that timer, watch that clock, and every second ticks away brings them closer to a victory on Villa.
The clock is still ticking down here with it. Plenty of work needs to be done here from ValorsGG. They need to get rid of these shields, they need to displace the defenders. There has not been a single frag. That is the most important thing that we need to highlight here. The fact that, I mean, the 9 players that we started with in the lobby are the 9 players who are still alive at this moment. It will end up being a flurry of kills, but when that flurry comes, we will need to find out. Plenty of information being done, or gained I should say, plenty of utility work being done as we see the first Renegade being burned and the first frag being picked up by Raymond on there. Rooney with that PT and Rooney doing his work. So with that being the case here, Whippet, you've got to say it is getting worse for wear, but Hawks is actually making his entry into the site.
Well, if you're in the site, you've got to press it now. 35 and finds the Rooney. Can't get enough damage down or kill. Tanks the Saria gate. Needs to get some cover. But this is going to be a tricky round for Valors. So much pressure, so much control. Still held by Northern Shield. And everyone against 5 is going to be a tricky one. Nate tossed out to no avail. Just trying to shore up and push people away from these power positions. The Toxic Counter will make this job even harder. A Toxic Sim caught out by 3-3 lurking in vault. He's going to lose his life to Shu though as everything kicks off. Now the plants will go down from Storm, and yes it is 6-6 because we see a player involved down. That's going to be Hacker losing their life. a 2 versus 3 now, and damage done to Shu. But Storm's on low XP, just trying to play it out. It's a wonderful peek from 2 players there, and surely this diffuser can get countered. Yes, it will, as no member of Valor's there to stop it, as Igro will get that confirmed, and we will see Villa go in favour of Northern Shield.
Good half cascade through the chat. I mean, ValorsGG, they did their best to put up a fight, and I mean, Northern Shield, they didn't really win that easily. It wasn't comfortable for them, and especially in that round there, that last round there, it really highlighted the skill on ValorsGG. Imagine what could have happened here, Whippet, if there was 5 men in the lobby for their team. Could you imagine that? Like, this game would be an absolute banger, and just unfortunately, we're not going to see it.
Brave of you to resist calling it a barn burner. I know you should wean yourself off it, but I mean, you're completely right. Again, I think this being a 4v5 will perhaps overshadow everything, but Northern Shield put up an absolutely stellar performance. It really was quintessential Siege, and they played the advantage. They knew going into this matchup, or at least in the lobby, okay, it's an unfortunate position for Valors, but we have to play our game. We've got to go through the checklist and play our strategies, and that's what they've done. They've done it to a great degree, and they got the victory out of it. Whether it's tainted in your eyes or not, I don't believe it is. They still made a great showing, so congratulations to them. But we still have one more map in this best of 2, and that next map will be Chalet. A very strat-heavy map, but the one thing I'll mention, the one caveat is you can see engagements happen very early. It is a map that lends itself to these rapid, fast-paced, early encounters if there's a roam presence or if the attacking team wants to get aggressive. For Valors, that might be a fantastic opportunity for them to get kills and tie it up to level playing field early in the round, because when they could do that, when Shu was able to find those opening kills, the rounds got very close indeed. But we will have a small little break before that next map, so sit back, grab yourself a drink, and prepare for Chalet.
Hello everybody, welcome back to CCL. We've got a great matchup here. It is ValorsGG versus the one, the only Northern Shield. But do you know what? That's not what's important. It's the Celtic connection that is casting Whippet. And I mean, what a first map that was on Villa.
Yeah, it was a very exciting first map, even with the circumstance we're in with ValorsGG. They put up a fantastic showing, and they really showed that even when they're on the back foot from the offset, they are here to scrap. They are here to try and win rounds, and they did a good job of it again, finding a lot of them on the attacking side and really beginning to build some momentum. But Northern Shield played a fantastic game. They really just played around the clock, didn't give opportunities for Valors to even take gunfights, and waited to take the gunfights until the dying seconds and mounted that pressure, and they ultimately took victory on Villa. A very interesting map, an interesting storyline going into it. Now, how will things differ as we move to map number 2 of this best of 2, which is going to be Chalet?
Yeah, it's really interesting. One thing that I noticed, I never really got to comment on it, was you were talking about a potential run out from, I think it was Astro Window, and I was thinking to myself, if this was EU T4, you would literally have 2 or 3 people jumping out that window, absolutely flying to get a kill.
Other than the fact you can't jump out Astro Window.
You get what I mean, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll send it to you after broadcast, but there are clips of some EU T4 League players who, let's just say, I have seen a clip of someone vaulting out of, outside of the walk-in closet window and finding 4, maybe even 5 people all outside in a rapid succession.
Yeah.
But we don't have time to discuss that. We're on the Chalet, we're on to map number 2 between Valors and Northern Shield, and the first ban we're going to be seeing is the Flores. An interesting one, but we kind of somewhat hinted at it during Villa. These RCXDs, these explosive cars, are such an effective tool to clear away utility. Great weapon, and Creepery has been running Flores every single round on the attacking side, so perhaps we're looking at somewhat of a target ban, and maybe even this one as well, as a Zero is next to go. So maybe trying to pull some crutch operators away from the side of Northern Shield. We'll have to see how that one works.
Zero's a huge operator. I don't think he gets played enough. I don't think he gets utilised enough. The cameras can really be put in difficult places to be found. Almost like these Valkyrie cameras. Yeah, they're a little bit more noticeable when they're actually on. But the places that they can be placed is genuinely can be second to none, especially if you lose your entry player, etc. Another thing that is second to none, these catchers were being taken out with it. I mean, his pancake discs can be thrown anywhere as well, and another one who can throw a utility anywhere is that Valkyrie. So, I mean, all in all, the fact that these bans come out, they're interesting because they're not the usual Mira ban, the usual Thatcher ban. He is in play. We are finally seeing the English operator being brought. So with that being said, I mean, I'm really interested to see how Shelley's going to be played. Because, sorry, just before I let you back in, it's just that something that nobody really talks about is how breach-centric Shelley actually is.
Well, to completely agree with you there, it comes under that linear map description. So in order to have significant effect on any of these kind of classified as linear maps, breaches are a key part of it. And being able to have the extra availability of throw an EMP grenade down and now you can get through a wall much easier. Kaid claws aren't going to be as effective, nor will the jammers on Dan be as significant. And not only do the Thatcher EMPs help you get through walls, they also help you clear stuff like ADSs, stuff like pests, everything electric, even Raymond's Drismont mines will get disrupted for several seconds, meaning the key choke areas, like that piano area, just by display, you can get through that doorway, that double doorway, much easier, because you can clear the shield that we'll see there at some point. Of course, they aren't there now, but when they go to that site, you'll see a shield on piano, you'll see an ADS, maybe even a Saria gate. An EMP, well, it doesn't do the Saria gate, you can throw it underneath, get rid of the ADS, even throw it to the opposite wall where they'll be stacked up by piano, where you can clear away utility much quicker. It will speed up the ebb and flow of a map like Chalet, and that might be what Valors want to do, because considering how effective Shu has been finding that opening kill, they can continue that trend, get that opening kill. They might be able to cause some damage here.
Yep, and another thing is it may actually change the flow of play. Not only do all these things, but change the flow of play here from ValorsGG. They don't need to send Ayana and self-destruction to go. You know what I mean? They can actually play a lot more passive. And I'm just echoing the points that you were making here, but one thing that we need to echo here is the fact that Aggro getting aggressive, but what a great grenade from Shu, continuing where he left off from last map.
Exactly as we were mentioning, once again the opening kill, it's gonna be Shu popping off, finds the damage, Aggro falls, and now it's a level playing field on a map like Chalet as well, where the attacking side can really collapse and be effective.
We're not talking about it.
Sorry, I glanced over at live chat for a moment, our little production back room, and I got a chuckle out of something, as I say. But it's going to be an interesting, tense moment. Raymond now take a long-range flight with his Scorpion Evo. There might be a pocket handheld GAU 8 to attach an A10, but it's tricky to make it work at these extended ranges, and well, Hawk's going to be able to open up this line of sight. A further one with that extra thermic and put some pressure, but Shu once again finds 2 in the round as Raymond falls. And this might be a critical moment. Now Creepery ascends up to Ivy, takes the initial fight, Badger falls, and that Sterling SMG potent at range, even losing a magnified scope. It's so stable, and useless to deal with.
The Sterling SMG is so huge. The thing is, as huge as max positioning, taking out Hawks, and now he's going to continue, in fact, maybe potentially dropping off here. A great play from him, because now they're going to have to clear out library, find out where this Jaeger has went. In fact, he's now reinforced the site, reinforced the Frost and the Mute that are holding down, that are bunkering away. Then you have to say here, Whippet, it's a great play from them, and 45 seconds remaining. It looks as if we are finally seeing these attackers stalling out. They do only have one drone. Maybe they're potentially waiting for this Ayana drone to actually refresh. I don't know if Storms is going to use that drone. We'll need to confirm that later. We're not seeing the pop up on her utility screen. So 20 seconds remaining. Whippet is now starting to get close to that key point, to mission critical.
Yeah, well, this is Houston. We've got a problem. You've got a 2 versus 3. You've got to crack through in that time as a critical. Storms will fall on this blue stairs, and well, a flurry from Creepery. That Sterling SMG sings and a body falls. It will be the opening round of Chalet in favor of Northern Shield. But let's not forget that heroic opening coming out from Shu once again, showing that Valors can bring this to back to a 4 versus 4 so easy. And if they can find that ability to get to a level playing field, push on and build off of it, they can find rounds here on the attacking side, as we will move now to a more default site of Master Bedouin Office. And once again, Badger on that Thatcher, as I mentioned, can have a significant impact given the opportunity and can survive long enough to do so just by throwing an EMP in a corner and clearing ADSs, meaning that clearing Piano becomes a much easier task. And Piano is one of those linchpin positions. It's so pivotal to so many strategies, and taking that away, or at least being able to clear it with much more ease, would be a massive advantage for the attacking side.
Well, Whippet, let's put on our analysis. My analysis. Oh my god, let's just talk about what's happening with.
Let's put on our analytical hats for a moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, how about you do this? Because I'm Goopy Brink shouting, and I'm not doing this.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, maybe potentially with Valorous, the point of the whole attack that is really struggling for them is the exit, right? Every time we've seen them gain the man count back in their favour, potentially even taking the advantage, then they're doing great utility work. I mean, they're not doing bad things, they're clearing shields, they're getting picks, they're trading back and forth. It's not looking too bad. But Whippet, one thing that we need to point out here is when we get to the site, when we get to that final 20 seconds, it starts to look worrying. We have seen clutch scenarios, and I mean, that's when it comes to the post-plant situation. In a post-plant situation, realistically, it should be all in favour of these attackers. So,
it really should be.
Yeah, so I would say the execute/post-plant is where ValorsGG should really be looking in the post kind of pod review. But at the same time, though, maybe this extra man, maybe he has some sort of IGL responsibility that could potentially be the hindering these attacks.
Well, getting to that execution, getting to that plant is just so tricky to do when you have to fight against the odds from the moment you step into that building. Badger, though, inside of the main lobby, finds the opening kill. A tricky one up to mezzanine, but does it anyway. Gets the job done. Nearly finds their head removed by Aggro. Instead, will do. But that Sterling SMD pops up, and Aggro finds 2. Well, a massive opening now for the Frost. They're battling to look for 3. Couldn't find it, though, as Hawks is there. And now in a 3 versus 2. Not unwinnable, but a tricky task indeed. Can they claw this back? A minute 30 remains. Can they make it work?
I will need to see if they can make it work. There is plenty of time to gain information, to do work from below. The Iana just doing that. So the Thermite, he's going to get this extra Thermite, open up box wall here with it, and actually look to ingress in towards site, put pressure, cut open that site, maybe make sure or hope that these defenders make a mistake, walk into the sight lines, and there we go. There's the first one. Hawks taking out the mute. And there is 30 seconds worth of smoke canisters left in the pop of the smoke. The Jaeger is in towards Piano. The nade coming out, but not actually finding or netting any sort of damage. Potentially a swing here from Iana, but nothing is going to happen. The Jaeger is baiting back and forth. It looks as if the two attackers are going to play together and potentially going for a plan. 35 seconds remaining here with it, and again, the information being gained. Are they going to be able to do it? They now know where the Jaeger is. The smoke canister's coming out. It really is mission critical once again.
Creepery finds 1 and makes it 2! They ran in the Piano in the waiting jaws of Jaeger, finding 2 in rapid succession. Makes it 2 rounds for Northern Shield. Valor having a good start once again, finding the opening kill, but they can't convert that into success, whether they're taking risks because of the man count disadvantage or the strategies just aren't working on the offensive side. They are beginning to, or they've let these rounds slip between their fingertips as Northern Shield now sit 2 rounds to the good. We will go to kitchen dining to complete our rotation, but the question shall be, will it be a flawless rotation for Northern Shield, or can Valors now convert the early round success they're having into round victories? And that is the critical storyline of this round.
Another point we need to bring up here, Whippet. What was the problem? It was maybe the execution here. They just walked straight into the Jaeger. They managed to bring it back all the way to a 2 versus 2 with a minute and 10 seconds remaining. That's huge. So much time to do what you need to do to find out where players are. It's just, you know what it is? It's heartbreaking because they are that man. They are got the man disadvantage. So you're like, you always root for the underdog. It's just, you're always going to root for the underdog. And when you see them just lose to small decision making, it's just heartbreaking. They should have just went for the plan and just hoped that the Jaeger would walk. Because I mean, he's got to get aggressive at some point. He's got to try and deny the plan. And I mean, the smoke canisters were coming out. Yes, that's true. But if you just maybe explode on the site, then potentially we could have seen it.
Yeah, again, to echo what you're saying, if this was a full 5v5, this would be one of the most tightly contested matchups I've seen for a while. Just in the storyline basing on how Valors find the opening kill, they have that early round dominance, I feel. I think it's a pretty good way of putting it on the attacking side. They find success so early on getting their entries. And this is a sneaky play. This is a very... Well, Dan is going to say no you and runs his fade, but the Mossberg does its job. But side control now been opened up. The attacking side of Valors, they have free reign. They've got to worry about verticality, but Shu, with shots like that, might make short work of the remaining defensive side of Creepery. Guess that all to give us a vocal warm-up as it finds 1. Can he make it sing for even more? Is that's going to be finding a kill to Shu and leaving Badger, the Thatcher, alone against 3. Spots out Creepery, but not quick enough on the draw. And while it all only bellows for a moment, we know it's roar, and Creepery finds that final kill.
The meat grinder coming out to grind the remaining players to dust. Back to the spawn they go. And you've got to be thinking here, ValorsGG, they'll be stumping themselves potentially. Maybe doing the right thing, actually taking West Main rush there. I mean, they did nearly catch off, but I mean, catch the smoke off guard, but that shotgun just does not miss. You give it a chance and it will not miss. So with that, we're heading back to Bar Gaming. And we need to really sit here and digest what we've already seen. We've had 3 rounds of Northern Shield's defensive, and we've had one of every single site. So therefore, we have at least a taster to the main course that we're going to see. We have a player who remains in towards Ivy Stairs with the shield. It's pretty default in terms of strategy. It's almost like holding down Blue and Oregon with the elbow hold. On top of that, we have somewhat of a roam in towards the, I believe it is the Solarium side of things, in towards Master. We did see the entry kill come out very early from ValorsGG to get that frag. That was great from them. But then what we then need to see them do is sufficiently attack in towards top square, top fireplace, or top Ivy Stairs. This is where the main area of focus from these defenders is. We also potentially could see one player in towards Library. So this is what we need to do here. Get the entry kill in Solarium, move, clear Ivy, clear top light fireplace stairs, and then in towards Library to clear anybody or any roamers remaining.
Well, getting that initial opening, finding the wrong presence, doing it away early can be a benefit, but we'll see a traditional ingression moment or entry point from Valor's pushing from the Solarium windows, trying to get this area of control, to dominate the top floor and use that as a beachhead. And we'll see Raymond has that Scorpion primed and ready, aggro as well, sitting primed and ready for a fight if it occurs. Nothing's repelled in yet, spots the head of that main window. Doesn't take the re-peek now, a tricky fight. How many Franks has defended and tears from that position? As Igros now has to be very careful about swinging wide as pressure from Solarium will make it uncomfortable. But Raymond finds the opening kill. Badger's there for an instantaneous trade. But Igro perhaps sees as an invitation to move up, get closer, and really put this Droney in an advantageous moment. The drone gets caught by that pest, and well, Mozzie Pest doing their job, denying information, denying drone game, and making it harder and harder to get solid positioning. As that's going to be repellent from Badger, but the SMG-11 primed, ready and waiting, finds that kill, and now Igo use up his reticle towards bathroom window and make short work of Hawks, leaving Storms in a 1 versus 4, makes that a 1 versus 3. G36C primed and ready. But it will be an uphill battle, a minute 30 to work with, and for the side of Northern Shield, you can just fall back, sit confidently on the sidelines you've created closer to the objective, and you don't need to take a single risk, because that timer will funnel in your opposition closer and closer to the waiting kill box.
Well, the kill box is going to come, and it's just up to Storms to potentially try and do what he did in the last map in Villa. And with an Ash, won that G36C, angled grip in 1.5 in tow. I mean, it's a kit that really can't be faltered at. Getting 1 kill, that's maybe putting one player in a dump, maybe making things look a bit better, but I'm down to 1 HP now. And Ed Dan, so close. Creepy moving down is going to be an absolute sandwich, and I don't see this Ash surviving. Ed Dan with the SMG-11 closing out round 4. Now, potentially with it, we are heading back to the top floor site. That's the next one that comes up, unless ValorsGG really want to spice things up and head to bottom floor, but no. Confirmed into master bedroom and office. So with that being the case, how would you like to see ValorsGG potentially make some adjustments, bearing in mind they do have the man disadvantage?
I have a sneeze coming, so it's very risky trying to talk now, but I'll try and hold it back to get my point across. It is, for them, the early round is where they're really having success. They find the opening kill, they're able to press that advantage, and if they can just, my bad, if they can just hold on and perhaps get extra information, use that as a launching ground to be able to push forward and perhaps slow it down after they find the initial fight. It feels like there's a rush of adrenaline when they find the opening kill or R2, and they try and close it out right there, right now. Instead of bringing it back to a more default strategy, they're very much centered around getting it back to level playing field and just seemingly that more aggressive mindset coming out. So if they find the early kill and they get it to level playing field, slow it down, bring it back to a more traditional take and more traditional style.
Well, I mean, be traditional. Can't really complain with that. But the thing is though, can ValorsGG actually push forward and adjust the mid-round? I mean, let's be honest here, Whippet. R6, the whole kind of core philosophy of strategy really revolves around how you adjust in the middle of the heat, middle of the battle, middle of the game, depending on strategy, depending on what you see in front of you, how well can you adjust to that? And that's something that, I mean, even some of the best teams can't do. I mean, you see T1 teams falter at the the sign of a strategy that just isn't something that they're used to seeing.
I mean, you're right, throwing something unorthodox, unusual can often be the unraveling for many a side, but I tell you what, Raymond's going to do his best job to unravel Valors with that opening kill. They're only Sings, and we see Storms hitting the ground early. Badger go claws one back and has information on a potential second. Igro's next to go as Shu once into the action. Free playing around the piano in a great power position, but now his comrades have fallen away. And I think they have to play a bit more reserved to hold the line. A great position to hold that position will be, or to hold on the map, will be from Piano. Talks deeper into that corner where ADSs tend to be placed. And now can lurk and wait for someone to cross that corner, but gonna get spotted out, leaving by Shu. This is where I mentioned it, Valors. They need to slow this down a little bit, get information, and set up a more standard execution because they are trying to push the advantage, be aggressive, but they might be able to find another kill off this. The Jackal team does go off, they have information now, and it's going to be Hawks opening up a potential rotation onto that Fluke balcony. No option yet, but up nades will soon arrive and get that camera off the wall, and now, it takes a lot of damage for it. Or that don't believe from the nade, not from no source, but walls now being opened, and this execution is looking very likely to the side of Valors.
Yeah, and do you want to know what? It is all advantage in their favour. They're using the drones to gain key information to the spot. Well, I mean, where the Rooney's playing, where the Smoke's playing, where the Shiga's playing. And another thing is they're actually being really quick on the time. So now when those 3 smoke canisters come out and those 30 seconds are wasted, they're going to have plenty of time to re-execute, to retry what they're trying to do. There goes the first smoke canister, there comes the bullets. P3 now put down to 1 HP. Raymond trying to regain, and potentially the plant could come through. That's huge! And a great kill from Raymond, and now it's just down to Shu. Oh no, take it out just like that. I thought we were going to see a Valors clutch there. It's just not going to be. A great shot from Raymond, great smoke usage from Mac, and a clean-up operation ended up being the case.
We just cut to a player very far outside, taking their job, getting in those steps for this operation, I'd imagine, but a much better round from Valors. They got the plant down, they got that execution to stick, but they just then couldn't hold on. The collapse from Northern Shield was very good. They didn't waste a single step moving North shot when it came down to the crunch time. And we just saw that the plant went down, but the planter died instantly. The cover died instantly after that. And while Shu against 3 defenders bearing down very aggressively, it was going to be a tricky one to claw back. So we see Northern Shield going 5 rounds uncontested. Moving to round number 6, we will be going downstairs once again. Kitchen and dining being brought, but I will draw your attention to Shu. He's on a Ying. Candela's primed and ready. Get your retinas prepared because they might be burned from your skull. And I think this is going to be Valors going for a much more aggressive style of play.
So, something that we saw last time was the West Main rush. Potentially, we could see them go above, and if they do, what they'll expect to see is something similar to a master defense. That tends to be how you defend Kitchen. But the thing is, with the Ayana looking likely to indicate to Northern Shield that there will be some sort of rush play, I wonder if they'll potentially be doing this, adjust where the players are actually going to play, the angles that they hold. But it doesn't look like to be the case. Maybe, no, I thought that maybe there was going to be a 3rd player left down below, but that isn't the case, as we do see Agro, Raymond. Oh no, maybe there is actually 3 players below. Sometimes, honest to God, see the outlines, they can really throw me off. Like, well, we don't get the same, sometimes we don't get the same quality as the people who, the lovely viewers. But like, sometimes like the outlines can just really throw you off.
You just need to upgrade your eyes. Invest more stat points into them, please.
Well, I need to go to Specsavers. Oh no, wait. Oh, the American boys will get that.
I think there's Specsavers in NA. Yes. Correct if I'm wrong. I believe there is. I'm like 60% sure, Cairo.
Well, whip it. We digress. Anyway, it looks as if we are going to see a similar take to what we saw last round. Taking in towards Library, opening up the wall of box, and then trying to displace people in Master. Then procedurally, they're going to try and open up in towards the dining area and try and get the plant down. This is kind of the standard technique that we are seeing in towards NA. I've seen DZ and TSM, loads of teams actually doing that. The Rooney, though, is none the wiser. Just manages to escape.
so close was Raymond getting their head cleaved from their shoulders, but again, better effort for trying. And then once again, Shu finds the opening kill. Raymond nearly gets an instant trade, but won't be able to find, so looks the wrong way though, doesn't check deep enough, and well, that's gonna be Storms to find the kill to Raymond. 4 versus 3, and things just got real interesting on this, the final attacking round for Valors. Can they put the puzzle pieces together? Badger takes a lot of damage, the Storms on Jones for right now. Agro's gonna get a victim on the shot as well. A smoke canister, trying to choke out that push, that progression from the downstairs doorway, as Dan knows his position's going to be compromised any second now. Has a great rotation. I can send that canister much deeper and delay more time, but down below is Badger rotating up to West Main. That might be the pressure relief valve his team needs. If he can creep up undetected and find a kill or two, this could be big. Waiting, being cautious, knows an active threat from Trophy, but has to push it, has to get somewhat aggressive and finds one. That knows the Egerton Trophy, but loses his life. But 30 seconds remain. The plant's going down. The cover is there. Will it stick? Yes, it does. No! User goes down, but we lose Hawks in the effort. A 2 versus 2, but now in a much better position to hold the line. Candelas will burn away that time as Max upstairs, and this could be the turn of the tide. No, another Candela deployed, an aggressive push from Storms, and now it's all down to Igro in a 1 versus 2, blinded for the 3rd time in a row, and this is going to be a hellish position as Shu collects that final kill and gets Valors 1 round back.
Yes, they get the breathing room that they oh so needed, and if I dare say it, deserved. They played so well on their attack, they were just missing out key positions, key areas. It was just so unfortunate. Look towards where the players are, they're all fragging out. Except from Hawks, I mean, he is playing more of a supportive role, we will say that. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Whippet, that was absolutely huge from ValorsGG. Now, they don't need to go perfect. They do have a buffer round if they want to take it to overtime. But the question is, do they have what they need in their locker? Chalet is actually a very defender-sided map. But the thing is, though, is it requires 5 members to coordinate succinctly and, I mean, without any hindrance. The thing is, Whippet, Northern Shield have plenty and can even throw an extra body at the problem. You think about this, you think about the key positioning in terms of putting an extra player on the roam and towards Solarium. That can burn so much time, and that burn won't be happening for the side of Valors.
So we moved to Bar Gaming, and I really do love this site. This is one of the best sites in my mind, because when you play it set up correctly, with operators like Amira, you can really be dominant, and I will always draw my kind of talk and discussion about this, about the small the side of bar. No verticality can displace anyone in there, at least directly above it, so that means mirror windows can sit there somewhat comfortably and not be too worried. Igro, no, a little bit worried about that one. His shoulder takes a few rounds of 9mm, but nothing to write home about. He's still active in the fight, not even a full bar lost off our HUD, so I'd imagine Jan is still going to be as aggressive as ever, trying to take the fight, and Igro doing his name worth and getting aggressive on that operator. 2 nades again would be great to clear away these mirror windows. We saw the ADS being placed pretty close, as Valors have suffered a loss, but not to the hands of a gun, but the hands of servers. Lose Hawks, and that finds themselves in 5 versus 3.
Yeah, it just gets worse and worse for Valors. It's just unfortunate. They managed to finally get that breathing room, but then they get choked out. But Storms maybe showing signs of life, signs of breath from Valors, taking out the Zofia, and that's huge soft destruction. But remember, we still do have Ayana and Sledge to do the work that needs to be done in terms of soft destruction. I imagine we'll see Storms rotate back to site, reinforce the numbers back there, and they will take the 4 versus 3, but maybe not, still remaining on West Main Stairs, and there is an orange outline very close. Will they jump in? Will they take Storms off by guard? The drone has been thrown in, potentially he will be able to persist, but do they know? No! Oh, Creepery actually been able to flick onto the head of Storms. Imagine it was prior information to where his position was, and and he gets taken out very well.
Shu on low HP as well in a tricky position, tries to escape and force a retreat. Gets down below and might be able to take more fights later on. A minute 10 left in this round. 2 versus 4 as you said. Tricky position. Badger on full HP though, and an SMG-11's a fearful weapon in close quarters. Spots the player vaulting in by display. Wasn't quick enough to find the headshot, or risk being spotted out by the E1D of Northern Shield's Lion, but Creeper he finds one on the Shu. A great angle there, and now Badger in a 1 versus 4, a tricky position even right as the stars, and this will be Dan claiming that kill round number 7 in favour of Northern Shield, and that leaves them on match point.
Well, they get the seeds that they... Sorry, no, that's not what it is. They reap, they reap the rewards of what they have sowed here, Whippet. They've shown respect, they've went through their strats, they have went almost positive on defense, almost positive, almost flawless on defense with nearly a 6-0. Valor's been able to claw it back on that last round, and now winning that first attack, it's huge. The pressure is now on to Valors. They can't slip up. They can't make mistakes. And maybe the first mistake has already been brought out here, Whippet. We are heading to Wine Cellar and Snowmobile Garage.
This site, I think, is a remnant of a time long past. This is one of the least changed fundamentally sites from when Chalet was reworked and added to our competitive pool. If you remember, before this map was changed, and even further back, if you remember when this was in competitive play, this site was a nightmare. Verticality is king, because if you look at the lobby, how much of that is reachable? Essentially the entire thing. And up by Mezzanine, the window by Fluke, you can even have an angle through 2 4-ways down at people. Hatches have a significant impact, and it's a site that, especially when a Thatcher's available, you're inviting a world of hurt bringing, especially when you have 3 options which are, at least subjectively, better sites.
Yeah. That's the thing though, Whippet. All of the sites require a lot of coordination, a lot of utility, and when you have a lack of utility, equal man count. Get rid of the line, that's huge. That leaves the roamers to actually persist and cause a nuisance for these attackers. That could really be great for the later round. We are seeing a bit of utility and man count invested. Bullets traded out here, and now the Badger, the Jaeger, has been put in a precarious situation. That situation is now 6 foot under. Back to spawn if he's able to do it, but what? The Ella been able... What?
Okay. Right, fair, okay, hello. I always love seeing an FO12 in play, and... Oh, my breath away with that one. And again, okay, hello. It's just the sound of death. It's making mincemeat of anyone daring enough to enter the effective range of buckshot. Oh well, we're gonna see 2 from the P10 Roni as everyone lines up perfectly scared of the bellowing shotgun around the corner. Kaid forcing them to panic with that C4 and prime real estate. 3 kills from the Mozzie.
I'm just going to put a big question mark over that round. I don't know what happened there. That was the first time I've seen Northern Shield look really weak. They just were caught completely by surprise, and so was I. I
mean, it was somewhat of a deer in the headlights moment. You walk around and all of a sudden you get turned to literal mincemeat by a shotgun of the caliber of FO12. What do you do? How do you react to that? How do you respond? Well, they seemingly didn't have an answer. You've got nades, you got utility, perhaps you could use that, but they didn't decide to do so. And they fell victim to a collapse at the bottom of West Main, meaning that ValorsGG have now found 2 rounds on this, and again, not being the greatest experience from them on this map so far, but can they find even more? Upstairs we go to a more default strategy side of the map. It's going to be master bedroom and office. Can they make it work? Can they find yet another round and maybe 3-6 on the scoreline?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, the upstairs site is pretty strong in the grand scheme of things, but I mean, as casters, we love to talk about statistics. It's almost as if you're like in a statistician's class or something. Absolute geeks when it comes to that stuff. And I do believe that when we look towards percentages, this is somewhere in the 60% mark for the defenders. And that's a huge, a huge, like, favourable margin towards these attackers. 10%. That's sorry, not 10%. It's 20%. Sorry, that is almost one per game. You're guaranteed to see a master win.
It's such a strong site, and really one of the linchpins of this site being so effective in the way it is that piano area, is the way you can make a kill box and pressure the entryways, which is going to likely be from library. It's one of the significant ways if you want to make a good entryway and push on in, you're going to use library. And the addition of a flash here might be a very smart one for Valors. Now you might look at this and go, okay, you're a man down intrinsically. Why would you want to bring one less active gun? Well, that's shield burns away time, and that might just be more valuable. But if Storms loses any more HP, you might be losing one of those active guns. The Rooney is left on low HP, but speaking of one of those guns waving goodbye, that will be Badger off the board. Your Mozzie no longer a factor in this round in terms of firepower, waving goodbye to that Rooney and a C4. An 8 primed and ready to put pressure onto the Clash, but falling away and taking no damage for the effort. Just existing, wasting time, standing there menacingly, trying to tase away and chip at HP, and just exist. That's the game plan right now. 1:45 remains, and a 5 versus 3 in favor of Northern Shield. Can they find 3 more kills or set up an execution to get victory here on Chalet?
Well, the victory is close, but can they clinch it? Can they get there? They only have 3 remaining players. But, the Clash, she's doing her best work to make sure that shield is continually being a nuisance. Now moving towards box wall, that could be a huge position as well. There isn't a Renegade that's going to be burned very quickly. Not wasting time here. Northern Shield with their utility game, and there goes the Rooney. Not before it's traded out though, so that could be huge later in the round because that's the diffuser going cold. All we really need to see here is the Clash deny the diffuser. Pick up, that's not going to be the case. We see the Alibi swinging hard, taking out Creepery, and now here in a 3 versus 2 situation, it's looking better and better here for ValorsGG. But now, we can now see an execution. We can now see objective play here. Whip it. Will it come? And imagine it will come soon.
Well, it has to happen sooner rather than later with 35 seconds left to go, and Redmond tries to get down, but no! The SMG was just so unwieldy it couldn't be controlled. Igro gets 1. Shu finds to get another one, trades off the Raymond, but Bailiff in hand, and gets Igro! 3 kills in a 1 versus 1, and a post-plan situation now. Can Mac hold the line? Has the LMG, has so many bullets to work with, but this MX4 Storm, great at brawling up close or at distance now. The extra optic has to be careful, doesn't know where this player remains, taps at this diffuser, might stick it out, has to be careful, it's gonna go for the stick, not gonna get it, no,
oh my!
Pops up at the worst moment, headshot from Zofia, and that's all she wrote as Northern Shield claim victory on both our maps with this best of 2. Well, a dominant showing on Chalet. But, of course, you must always remember there's a caveat to this, an asterisk. Valor's, of course, playing with 4, but a great performance from Northern Shield. Absolutely stellar from them, and what a heart-in-mouth moment for that final round.
Whip it. One thing we need to say here, we have to give commendations towards ValorsGG. They did not give this up without a fight. They put their hearts and soul into this matchup, and it was back and forth constantly. Northern Shield, while being dominant, they did not get this easy. This was not like a 7-2 or a 7-3 matchup. You look towards the scores, you'll be like, oh, well, it was 5 versus 4. They must have just dominated, and the other team just got a few lucky rounds. That was not the case. ValorsGG should really give themselves a pat on the back, and I can imagine them honestly be sitting back and thinking to themselves, we could have had more. We could have potentially walked away with more points.
Yeah, I think they will be looking at that going, okay, unfortunate situation, but, head held high for the rounds they won. Great showing from them and from the individual performances of players like Shu, who on the opening stage of a round could find those opening kills and get it to a level playing field. But I mean, you've got to look at this and go, okay, we could have got more. Let's work on this. Let's see how it is. And of course, it's not an ideal position to learn from because, again, not at full strength. So, take everything with a pinch of salt. But Northern Shield, they played it really well. They didn't play into the trap that many teams tend to in situations like this, where they might get over aggressive, they might get overzealous. They played their strategies and they played them well. They understood that Valors would be wanting to try and get an equalizing kill early in the round, so they made it difficult. They didn't always present that opportunity. They made players like Shu work for it, and even if they suffered that early casualty, they'd fall back. They'd play around angles and trades and have kill boxes all set up and established. I mean, think about that position outside of Wolf where we had Creepery on the Maestro and Alda, on Villa I should say. Yeah. We had the Creepery with the Alda spraying down, locking this position down, a toxic counter choking out any potential retreat, and the rest of the remaining teammates crowding in and finding the kills to close it around. Again, a great showing, and we really get to see some of the class that Northern Shield can bring in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get really to finish my point earlier. One thing I just wanted to say, the difference between EU versus NA is crazy. In EU, we would see people playing aggressive, playing really into this mechanical ability that we do see a lot of players have. But NA is a lot more procedural. We are seeing, again, what I like to say is we see the T1 stuff trickle down into the lower tiers. And you have to give commendations. There's good stuff that we're seeing from these teams. And at the end of the day, I mean, what can we say? It has to be commendations and really, like, pats in the back for everybody in this lobby. But whip it. Our time's up, man. Unfortunately, I mean, the dollar that they put in the Celtic machine is gone. It's time's up.
We're done, but don't go anywhere, because there's still another best of two that come after this one. It will be Tide Paws versus Shinigami, and that looks to be an exciting one. Of course, there'll be matches tomorrow as well, so keep your eyes peeled to all of our socials for timing, etc. on that one, as I guarantee this will be a weekend of fantastic matchups. But from myself and Kyra, the Celtic Connection, that's all she wrote, so we'll see you in the next one.